wrote down some pointers to talk about for game one of the NBA Finals. We're in a new filming location, of course. That's how the back rooms are, though. You go to different parts of the back rooms and you don't actually know where you are. So, anyways, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. Yeah. Hopefully, this stream isn't too jumpy and all over the place. But what I wanted to give my reaction to is game one of the 2026 NBA Finals. So we'll wait a little bit while everybody starts to trickle in a little bit. What up? What up? Spurs in 5. Bold, pretty bold. Spurs in 5. That would mean after tonight the Spurs win 4 in a row. It's pretty bold. Pretty bold. All right, but let's get going and let's talk about what had transpired in this game. I gave my halftime reaction, which I don't know if that's logged, worked, and posted yet. But the first thing that happened, we'll just go off of that. Probably worked a lot, or probably messed it up tremendously. Which, sorry about that, people. Okay, first thing to talk about is we mentioned at halftime what the score was at the half. We mentioned that the Knicks started to mount a little bit of a comeback, but the Spurs kept a decent pace and they hit some clutch threes to end the half, and then they were up by like 6 or something at halftime. It was like 55-50, something like that. Okay. With just things going on and stuff, I didn't catch the majority of the third quarter. I was out shopping. But the fourth quarter, I tuned in. There was about 9 minutes, 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. So I did see, by the time I tuned in, just because like the rerun was awful and the rerun just kept being super, like it gets super tacky. And like all of a sudden it get really laggy, probably how bad this stream is. But like it's like I don't want to watch a blurry game. Okay, sorry. We're in 2026. Okay, pick it up a little bit. No, but here, let me. How's the stream, guys? Is the stream super good, super bad? Are we super blurry? What's going on? Let me know. Let me know. Of all the rooms in the back rooms, this probably is the worst spot to get Wi-Fi. But let me continue. Hopefully it's not too laggy, because if it's really laggy, I'm sorry, folks. But the Knicks won tonight, 105-95. We're gonna go over some of the basketball stuff, and then we can do some of the other sports stuff. And this is my initial reactions and thoughts. We might do another stream later tonight, in like 2 or 3 hours, just depending. Okay, but just depending on how well this stream goes. If this stream goes terribly, then no. But terrible meaning like view wise, like holy shit, it's so choppy. The replayability on this is 0. Which again, sorry people, I don't have my usual bells and whistles with me. So coming out of this, coming out in the second half, the Knicks went on a 22-9 run. Momentum was a huge thing in this game, and I didn't notice it while I was watching it, but upon looking at the review, like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, huge momentum swings in game one tonight. So they went on a 22-9 run. The Spurs, I made a joke. You can even go watch it. I made a joke in the first half about Chad Penny making some threes, and it's like, what a better time to stop making threes. Yeah, the dude stopped actually making 3-pointers. Like he had 15 points in the first half and ended with 16 points. So he had 1 point in the second half. And it's like, that possibly could have helped them win the game if he kept shooting a 3-ball. So he got cold. The Spurs as a whole got cold as well too. Not scoring as many points as they needed to the second time around. All right, here's here's the beef. Okay, with this win tonight, the Spurs also set a record and set history in the ways of all the times the Spurs have ever been in the NBA Finals. They've never lost game one. They went 6-0. Tonight, that streak ended. I did not know that. So I'm thinking back, yeah, the times that, which, to your point, maybe you do have ball knowledge saying Spurs in five. Spurs did lose game one against LeBron and then proceeded to sweep, kind of reverse sweep, but gentleman sweep and beat the Heat in five. So you might, there might be some credit to that with the Spurs winning. Again, I think both teams are going to fight, and I think both teams are going to win a game. I kind of had this thought with hockey. I have this thought with the NBA. Hopefully, we don't see a sweep because that would be boring as shit. As dominant and as fun as it's been to see the Knicks dominate teams, I wanted more from the Eastern Conference Finals. I wanted more from the Sixers. Literally, I said in my postseason prediction, the winner of the Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, round two potential matchup, winner of that goes to the NBA Finals. Well, the Celtics blew a 3-1 lead, and then the Sixers proceeded to get swept. So imagine kind of how pissed I am at that. But so they set history by beating the Spurs in game one. They also set a little bit of history winning their 12th straight game tonight. Oh, we got a lot of people in here. Now we don't anymore. But yeah, if you guys enjoy the stream, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Okay, let's keep going. So they won 12 straight. This is their 12th straight win. The last time they lost was well over a month ago. Game three against the Hawks. All right. So there was a 20-plus point swing from the first half to the second half in the Knicks coming back. At one point, yes, the Spurs were up by 14. And then when we're in the middle of the fourth quarter, the Knicks are up by 8. So then that's where you put your, 21-point lead, 22, 23, where it's like, look at this huge swing. The Spurs got cold shooting. You look at field goal percentage, 41 to 36, not too crazy. I think a stat when I'm trying to look through, the three ball. Both teams made 11 three-pointers in this game. Now the difference is the Spurs took like 10 more threes, versus the Knicks. Neither team totally dominated from the three where it's like, yep, right there. That's why they won the game. No, both teams were pretty even with 11 made threes, but the difference is the Spurs, instead of points in the paint, because that's another stat we can talk about, they would, do a 10-footer or just they would do other points of baskets versus the Spurs just throwing up threes. I think it was like 33, 34. Like they shot, like I think the shot like somewhere in the 30s, and then the Spurs shot like 40 threes, and it's like, okay, all right, like somewhere in there. I didn't write down that stat. All I wrote down was 3-point, and then I circled it like 11 because they both made 11. All right, points in the paint did favor the Knicks, 50 points in the paint compared to the 42. So I think with Cat, they, when Wemby's out, they made a huge emphasis on attacking the boards. I think rebounds were even, but it kind of didn't matter because rebounds are, not that rebounds are an overrated stat, but again, it wasn't something where we sat at the end of game 7 saying, hey, the reason why the Spurs won this game was because they out-rebounded the Thunder, and you could clearly see it in the second half because it was a point of emphasis in the first half because of second-point chances and second-point opportunities. All right, let's talk now. So points in paint, 50 to 42. We already talked about biggest leads. The Knicks' biggest lead was there at the very end of the game. To end the game, they went on an 11-0 run in the final, final 3 minutes, final 4 minutes, somewhere around there. Like Wemby chucked up a 3 and it missed. Castle chucked up a 3, good look, and he missed. And like there were points in this game where yes, the Spurs could have come back and won the game, but they didn't because they were missing those 3-ball opportunities. So yeah, the 11-0 run was a big reason on why they won. The other reason on why they won was just Jalen Brunson taking over in the fourth quarter. We were tied heading into the fourth, actually, at 76 apiece. Again, I was watching reruns, and so when I tuned in around the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter, no clue they were tied. Now, when the score was sitting at about like 96-102, 97-98, like when it was before the Knicks surpassed the 100 mark, I was like, okay, this thing can go to OT because all the Spurs need to do is hit a three and get like a free throw. Like this is not out of reach. But then, some late game misses. Spurs would not get a rebound. Turn around, here come the Knicks. Brunson made that corner three in a sense kind of sealed the game of like, okay, yeah, they're gonna win game one. I think Brunson played phenomenal today. I think Wemby had a good game too. Glad he didn't get injured when him and Hart got tied up when they banged knees. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn the Wi-Fi back on. Let's see if the Wi-Fi works. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in post. Speaking of Hart had a good game, but not in the way you would think. His impact was in other spots because of all the things I said stat-wise. When you want to look at stats on, okay, this is why the Knicks won. Here's why I think the Spurs lost. The Spurs lost this game. Same reason why the Thunder lost their game. I'm a big proponent on your starters need to show up. Hart had 3 points. The Knicks still won, so it's something to overlook. But again, if the Knicks want to win this series, there's going to have to be a game because we know Brunson's not going to score points every single game. Brunson then proceeds to score 30 points every game, which is funny. But there will be games where he's not scoring 30 and Hart or OG or Cat, one of them needs to go up, okay? Because he only had 3 points in this game. He did have a big game. I believe he had 25. Yeah, he had like 25 against the Cavs when they beat the Cavs in game 2. But yeah, OG had 17. Brunson had 30. Cat had 18. The bench was a big reason why the Knicks also won this game. They had 28. Going with that, there were 3. There were 3 starters. Well, I don't know about a third one, but I know 2. There were 2 starters that Harper, a bench player, had more points than. He 16, okay? And so the point that I'm trying to come back to is your starting 5 need to score buckets, and they need to get at least 10 or more, because I've noticed in watching NBA basketball and college basketball that, you go watch Michigan, you go watch UConn, like BYU. Why did BYU lose to Gonzaga? Because only one player, it was AJ, but like there's a stat, and like there's an underlining thing. You can look at the Sun series against the Thunder. You can look at the Nuggets against the Timberwolves. Your bench players showed up and scored points, but in turn also your starting 5. You had 2 of your starting 5 for the Spurs not score more than points. Now again, their production can be in other places, assists, rebounds, not in the ball over. Yes, I get that, but like Wemby only tonight had 26. If Wemby's having 35, 40 points, okay, a different story. We can rough because chances are if Wemby had 40, they won the game. But I think Harper not being a starter and then scoring more points than Fox. That other one was Vessel, maybe. I don't know. I didn't write it down. Castle, I don't know how many points Castle had. I didn't write it down. But Chad Penny, I wrote it down. He had 16. To make that point of like all those threes he made in the first half were just first half because he didn't make them in the second half. Then Fox had 7. If Fox had more points, there's the potential that the Spurs win. And that's the other point is, yes, Brunson had 30. The thing was tied headed to the fourth, and the Knicks went on a run. But also, in turn, two of the starting five for the Spurs did not score more than 7 points, 8 points. Like it shows. It shows in the box score when you want to look at, well, this was a pretty game. Hey, game 7 between the Spurs and Thunder, it was pretty even. What's the lining? Oh, Chet Holmgren had 2 points. See what kind of makes sense. It's not Fox's fault that they lost this game, but there are points where it's like when the Spurs bench only has around like 16 points, and the Knicks bench have 10 more points than you. And it's kind of an issue. All right, here we go. I'd already talked about the 2-point run, 22-9, and then the 11-0 run was tied. Brunson having 30 points, real big, game 1 performance. That's my thoughts on it, guys. That's all I have. I'm not going to fall into the hype train of game 1 deciding the whole NBA Finals. Now, unfortunately, here's a stat that I want y'all to look at. Let's go over the last 10. Here's the last 10 NBA Finals champions and winning game 1, them ending up winning the series. The only team that has won the NBA Finals after losing, actually there's 2, because I was thinking of the Bucks. I was thinking of Bucks and Cavs. And if I'm not mistaken, that's who it is, because here we go. 25, the Thunder won game 1. 24, Celtics won up 3-0. 23, Nuggets, because Nuggets won game 1, Heat won game 2, Nuggets won 3 in a row. 2022, I don't remember. I think Boston actually won game 2, and then the Warriors won. I think Boston won game 1, because I think as a fan, because I am a fan of the, I was like, oh shit, they might lose the NBA Finals. But then I think they rattled off and won game 2 and 3 in Boston. Also won game 2. They lost game 4. Then they won game 5 and 6. I think it went 1-2, 1-2. I think that's exactly how the 22 series went, because there was the game where Curry was just kind of in the Celtics, and it ended up being the bench. Wiggins, and it just ended up being a whole bunch of other players. I think that was game 5. But then Curry did have a big game in game 6. There was Klay Thompson sleeping the whole time, which is probably why they traded him. All right, I'm going to end the stream here, guys, because I can tell Wi-Fi, this stream's probably been glitchy as shit, which I'm sorry, guys. Here we go. So 22. In 2021, the Suns won. So potentially the Celtics, potentially the Suns. Those are the last 2 teams more recently who won the NBA Finals after winning the first one, because the Suns went up 2-0 and then they lost 4 in a row to the Bucks. And then in the bubble, 2020, the Lakers won game 1. I think that went 1. Lakers took a 3-1 lead, but they won games 1, 2. Heat won game 3. Lakers won game 4. Heat won game 5. Lakers won game 6. I think that's how that one went. 2019, Raptors won game 1. 2018, Warriors swept. 2017, Warriors went up 3-0. 2016, Warriors won game 1. And so you look at the last 10 years, 3 teams. And so Spurs fans, if we're all, the point I'm trying to make, and you want to go back even further, the Spurs let the Heat beat them in 2014. Yeah, 2014. And the Thunder also won. I believe the Thunder won game 1 in 2011 or 12, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember holy shit, I think the Heat, when they played the Mavericks in 2011, I think the Heat, didn't that go 1-2, 1-2 as well for Dirk? Because then they win it in 6. Shit, I can't remember. I remember off the top of my head. See, this is the problem. This is the problem when I try to pull stats out of my ass, because I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. But we'll end the stream here. It's just it's kind of one of those things where, as much as we panic and oh my gosh, we're gonna lose this series, of the last 10 NBA champs, game one and winning game one does not guarantee them the victory. And so that's the only point that I wanted to make. Real quick, too, in the NFL, it was confirmed Russell Wilson had retired from the game of football. And then in the NHL, Coach Cooper of the Tampa Bay Lightning wins the Jack Adams Award, which I believe is the Coach of the Year. Yeah, it makes sense. In the NBA, I would have given it to. There's parts of me where in the NHL, I mean, they did win the Atlantic, and so it's like, hey, yeah, you can give it to him. I would have given it to him or Rod Brindamore, or Bednar, because you're the number one team. So Cooper gets it. It is what it is. And the Coach of the Year for the NBA, I would have given it to the Pistons head coach. Either the Pistons head coach or the Spurs head coach. You could all give it to Brown with the Knicks, because the Knicks did really good this year, considering, I forgot this, they fired Coach Tibbs. I forgot that. Like, that's how kind of short-term memory I have of, like, yeah, Coach Tibbs was coach last year. And I talked about how minutes were a problem in a game, because Coach Tibbs would just be like, hey, Brunson, guess what? You're playing 5 minutes tonight. And, like, you could see on the stat sheet of, like, anyways. Yeah, those are all my thoughts on that, guys. If we do another stream again later tonight, I'll let you know. Maybe I can give my thoughts a little bit more on Jared Verse being traded to the Browns, because he's had a press conference. A couple teams have had press conferences today. There's also some news about Ayuk as well with the 49ers, and so maybe that's why he hasn't been traded yet to Washington. I don't think he's playing with the 49ers this year. He might not play football in all this fall. Yeah. Caleb Williams is on the Madden cover, which I can give, like, if there is a Madden cover curse, the Bears would be huge recipients to that. Do I think deserving? No, actually. Hot take? No, I don't think it was. He had 2 big comeback wins against the Packers, and everybody thinks. Now, don't get me wrong, the play that he made that they inspired the cover off of, pretty cool, but he didn't have as big of an impact as Barkley did, and Barkley being cover and winning the Super Bowl. I'm surprised that from the Seahawks. I mean, would I have wanted to see Sam Darnold cover? Hell no. Maybe Kenneth Walker. Jackson Smith and Njigba could have been on the cover. He wasn't, because he's apparently the number 1 receiver right now in the NFL. And it's like, well, you also got to look at the context of how many other receivers were injured last year. Yeah. I hate when yeah, they don't like when you talk about that. Because, yeah, a lot of other top end, Amon-Ra, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans. Some guys were anyways. So, like, I mean, it's a little deserving, but it's not like you could have given it to someone from the Seahawks who won the damn Super Bowl. You could give it to, I mean, even the runners up, you could give it to Drake May. But then, I mean, if you give it to Drake May, no, you actually should have given it to Matthew Stafford, because he was the MVP. So you could have gone that direction. You could have given it to, hey, guess who has also been really stat effective the last handful of years, but's been overlooked? Jared Goff. You could have given it to Jared Goff. You could have given it to, I mean, McCaffrey's already been on it, so no. But, like, I'm just kind of like, whatever, sure. Like, if the NFL fans and if fans and social media love him and the TikTok kids love him, then sure, put him on the cover. But, like, there were plenty of other quarterbacks and other skill position players that did more in the post. Now, this isn't a, hey, the Madden cover should go to someone who's played and won the Super Bowl. Because if that was the case, it'd be an Eagles player or a Chiefs player, a handful of years. But like, Rodgers won the Super Bowl. Who is on the Super Bowl Madden? Like, who's on Madden the next year? Hillis from the Browns. So the Packers got totally overlooked. Who won Super Bowl at like the year where you put Stafford after the Rams won the Super Bowl? They decided to put, I believe, Lamar Jackson. Was that the 23 cover? I believe they put him on that one, which is fine. And then they put McCaffrey, which is fine. They put Josh Allen, which is fine. Last year, Super Bowl winner Saquon, they put him on, which makes sense. So I'm not saying like if you win the Super Bowl or you win an NFL award accolade. Here's a hot take. They probably wanted to put Myles Garrett on it, but because they knew, like with contracts, because I'll finish the stream here on this, and then again we might do another stream later. But again, probably not. It is getting late. The Rams knew Super Bowl happened in February. Okay, so it's March, April, May. We're in June, 4 months later. I want to say this Rams trade talk for Myles Garrett has probably been brewing maybe for about the last month. I know the GM on the McAfee show and talked about it. I haven't watched the full interview, so I'm spitballing bullshit right now. But with how long it takes to make video games and picking a cover athlete, like they picked Saquon because knew Saquon wouldn't get traded. You know what I mean? Like it's like he just got traded here. He just won a Super Bowl. So there's parts of me that think because they haven't put a defensive player on it in a while, they're probably either thinking TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. Because we can't put Hendrickson because Hendrickson just got traded. We can't put Parsons because Parsons just got traded to the Packers and he's injured. We're not doing that. So they probably wanted to put Garrett on it and have it be the sack record photo of him, sacking Joe Burrow, and put like, because I think last defensive player on the cover was Richard Sherman. I was about to say Troy Polamalu, but it's like no. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Troy Polamalu. Yeah, it was Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald. They were on the Madden 10 cover, but I was thinking it was probably Myles Garrett. But Madden probably knew. And apparently, I haven't been watching media enough. Apparently, like this smoke of like, hey, Myles Garrett might be traded. Apparently, this one's been brewing for a while. And so, with the potential of him getting traded, I think that's why Madden probably made a phone and said, hey, Myles Garrett's not going to get traded anytime this offseason, right, Cleveland? And then Cleveland was like, well, we can't confirm or deny. And that's why they went with Caleb Williams. I bet there's levels to this. I bet there's levels to it where Stafford probably said no. And Myles Garrett, the trade was probably like, yeah, how silly. But it would be so Madden, though. It would be so Madden to have the cover athlete be a player that was traded. Oh, that'd be so hilarious. It's going to happen eventually. Just like, because I'll finish with this, the college football 27 cover too. Mark my one of these years, there's going to be the cover athletes for college football 27. And then because like the photo shoot happens a little bit after spring ball, but it's like, watch it be like for example, like Dante Moore's on the cover, but it's like, watch it be someone who gets traded. Well, not traded, but like it's the NIL portal after, like they're a fan favorite or something, and then they just hit the transfer portal after spring ball. Nico Iamaleava, he did it with Tennessee. He hit the portal after spring ball. So watch it be like one of these years future, like they have someone on the, or they could have a Scoresby situation where they have a quarterback and then it's like, oh, well, there's some gambling stuff and all that. You might not be able to college football. Well, whoops. So I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna end the stream here, guys. Thank you for letting me ramble. These are my thoughts and reactions to Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Good game. It was a really good game. It was competitive through. look at the Knicks, man. Yeah, I was feeling the Spurs. I was feeling the Spurs would take game one, but Knicks have Nick advantage. They stole home court. Now, what Wemby's got to do, they got to win next game, but they've also got to go steal one in Madison and try to get their feet under them in this series because they can retake court if they go win one in Madison Square Garden. But anyways, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.